when people's bodies get unwell or take up these heavy metals, that they take up they meet all those places that there are gaps. So then when somebody starts to remineralise or take up a really good mineral supplement or whatever, what happens to those heavy metals? Do they come out by themselves? What sort of pathways do they take? What occurs
Yeah, that's
there?
a great question.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens to the heavy metals, when we start remineralizing our body? The beautiful thing about plant minerals is that they act as what we call chelation agents, which means that they will go in and attach themselves to this toxic form of mineral and help pull it out of the body. And it exits the body through, all of our pathways. It goes through the lymphatic system, it comes out our urine, it comes out, our sweat glands, wherever our body's eliminating, it will find its way out. Because the minerals from plants, I mentioned they're water soluble. They don't actually build up in the body. What happens is they actually carry those toxic form of mineral through the liver, which is, apart from our skin, our biggest detoxifying organ. And the liver is then able to convert it. Because of the plant mineral, there's a symbiosis that happens in the liver. The liver's able to convert the toxic metal into a water-soluble compound that is able to be removed from the body. But we can't do it without the mineral. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I have a question now. We hear a lot about antioxidants.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're taking a really good mineral supplement, plant mineral supplement, should you also be taking lots of antioxidants? Because I know selenium is one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm interested to know a little bit about them as well and how they work within the body.
Okay, all right.
If that's okay?
Yeah, that's fine. So what about antioxidants? So we get these things building up in our body called free radicals. And free radicals are cells that are incomplete or damaged, right? So we have atoms that don't have the right molecular structure, right? There's pieces missing, right? So free radicals come in all different forms, but that's the basis of it. And so what happens is that they try and complete themselves. So they go looking for other pieces to complete them. And so they travel through the body. But as they travel through the body, they create havoc, basically, because they're trying to, they're unhealthy. Antioxidants, the reason that antioxidants are healthy, and you can overdo antioxidants too, like you can overdo anything.
Yeah.
But antioxidants are basically the antidote to that. So they will go in and they will rid the body of these free radicals and restore, a proper, healthy homeostasis in the body. And antioxidants are nutrients. And they come in different forms and there's different compounds that are antioxidants. Most plant material contains antioxidants. So if you eat a lot of, organic, rich, healthy vegetables and fruit, you're getting a lot of antioxidants just there. But for most of us, we're pretty damaged. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's often recommended that you have extra antioxidants. But one of the things that you don't want to go overboard, we have this thing as human beings that if one's good, then 100 must be better, right? Yep. And what we're really trying to find is this place of balance. Because you can get too much oxidation in your body, and that's just as harmful. So it's a balance. It's a balancing act. So yes, antioxidants are wonderful, and as we get our nutrient depletion to a more healthy level, then we will automatically be putting in those antioxidants. Yeah? That's kind of a general, without going into too much, that's like a generalized, yeah?
Good level.
Yeah, okay, good.
Thanks.
Yeah, good. Anything else? Any questions, comments about anything? Yeah?
I've been hearing about, when people have got something like, you hear lots of things lately about people who have these autoimmune problems. And I've been hearing about that one of the things which can add to that is that a cell which becomes damaged or kind of outdated or whatever it is, that should be sloughed off, that the body stops, there's a certain word for it, but that the body will stop kind of somehow keep hanging on to and trying to repair those damaged cells that in a person without a disorder like that would get sloughed off and the new ones would be created, but the body just keeps trying to repair these damaged ones. How will having a good mineral help that, and will it help it?
It's a pretty specific question. I'm going to give a generalized answer that kind of covers most things, really. So that process is called apoptosis. And what happens is that our bodies, we create our own toxic material called metabolic toxins. So yes, we take in toxins from the outside world, but we also create our own, which is, the old cells that need to be sloughed off, or, bacteria that shouldn't be in there. Well, that's from the outside. But, our cells produce stuff that needs to be gotten rid of. Like when we eat food, there's a certain amount that needs to exit the body, right? And it's the same with our cells. The cells take in nutrients, take in oxygen, take in water, and push out what they don't need, right? Push out the refuse, so to speak. So that needs to be cleaned up. There's all this stuff that happens in here that without minerals cannot happen. I mean, that really is the bottom line. And what happens when there's mineral deficiency is exactly what you're talking about, right? Yeah. So the body is constantly trying to come to this place of homeostasis or balance, right? That's just what homeostasis means, is balance. And it'll do whatever it needs to do to find that balance. And it'll compromise all over the place just to find that balance. So, yes, the short answer is yes, mineral deficiency has a huge impact. Yeah. And, the other piece is to do with cellular communication, right? Intercellular communication. Because that's one of the jobs of minerals is to create this cellular communication between cells. And so when we're minerally deficient, that can't happen, which means that some cells don't really know where they're supposed to be or what they're supposed to do, but they know they need to do something, and so they can go rampant. So it's just, the body's incredibly, incredibly intelligent. It's an astounding thing that we know that much about. And it often amazes me how little people know about our bodies. I often joke that most people know more about their car than they do about their own body. And yet, I have a good friend that says, if I don't take care of this, where on earth am I going to live?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's true. And the absence of minerals also, believe it or not, affects our emotional well-being. Absolutely, totally impacts our emotional well-being. Direct correlation. And so the level of fear that we're carrying around throughout our life is elevated tremendously when we're minerally deficient. And fear appears in all kinds of different ways. I mean, it's said that there's basically only two things that run through our life. One's love and the other one's fear. They have all these different faces. That's basically it. You can narrow it right down. And so when I come to one of those places of feeling stuck or frustrated or, however fear shows up in that moment, my way through is gratitude. So my way through is to stop and find a place in myself where I start looking at all of the things in my life that I'm grateful for. And I focus on that until that goes away. And it happens very quickly. So that's my way through, is that. Gratitude is huge. It plays a huge, huge role in quality of life. And one of the things that I did learn, actually, is that I cannot expect to be given more if I am not already grateful for what I have. So I start and end my day every day with gratitude. It's what I do when I open my eyes every morning. I just mentally go through a list of what am I grateful for today. And it changes. Different things come up into my mind at different times. And then again before I go to bed, what am I grateful for as I look back over my day? And it's just become a practice that I do every day. And the more I do it, the more it just comes up spontaneously through the day, which is very beautiful. Shannon?
I think it's interesting what you said about emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've got a friend, and I can tell when they run out of the minerals by their Facebook posts. I'll ring them up, because they don't live in New Zealand, I'll ring them up. And I'll say, you must be out. And they go, how do you know? And I say, let's just get you back on. And they go, I'm not sure if it's doing anything for me. And we say, let's just get you back cranking. And they go back on, and within days, I went for a beautiful walk. Oh, life is great. It comes from, I want to kill someone. Oh, life is great. And I'll go and walk, and I'll ring them back up. How's it going now? Oh, yeah, it's not much difference. But that emotional thing.
Right.
It's amazing to watch from afar.
That's a beautiful example. Thank you for that. Absolutely. There's a number of people in the room that I've been working with for a number of years who have been using minerals. So maybe this is a good time actually I just wondered, Jackie's somebody that I've worked with Jackie for quite a number of years, and I know the difference that when we introduced minerals into your life, what happened for you. Would you be willing to share that with people? This is just, I mean, everybody's experience is different, yeah? But this is something that actually cuts across everything. Everyone needs this, and the impact it can have. Okay, Jackie, thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Christa's an amazing role model for me because, when I met her years ago, she really inspired me of what was possible because, I came from a really low place and just observing that she had a journey as she shared, and I knew what was possible, and I started doing more. But my background is You know, I wasn't really interested in health. I, like Christa said, probably knew more about a car. In fact, I did, because I worked in that industry. I knew heaps about a car, but nothing about my own body. And then it was like one day the rug really got pulled out from under my feet, and I had to start learning about my own body, because I found myself in a place where, I don't know if you know the terminology, but this medical diagnosis, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia. I had a whole long list of diagnoses, you know, digestive problems. And where that left me, I mean, they're all just words, but where they left me was in a place of, you know, my body was racked with pain every single day. I would wake up exhausted and wish it was bedtime instead of getting up time. You know, it was crazy. I could hardly get out of the house because I had so many allergies and sensitivities. It wasn't safe for me to go outside the house. And something that Christa said sort of sparked a memory for me, saying that minerals really switch on the cells. I remember being in that really low place and really weak. I couldn't work, and I had to go into the WINS office and ask for help and say, I cannot physically leave home. I need financial help. And I ended up on a sickness benefit. And that woman that was my case manager looked into my eyes and you know, really sort of listened to me. When I went back on another visit, she said, wow, whatever you've been doing has changed. When I saw you last, there was hardly any life left in your eyes. You know, everything, it was just gone. The battery had gone flat, you know, and that's how I felt. I was about as low as I could. And, you know, I know the possibilities with nutrition and remineralizing, because I had to start in that low place. I went to all these practitioners, I got diagnosis, but nobody offered me a solution. And I didn't want a diagnosis, I wanted the answer of why and how did I get like that and how was I going to resurrect it. So my journey of that was I had to do a lot of research and discovery and using my own body as the guinea pig. And I did the most extreme things. I grew wheatgrass, I did juicing, I only ate organic. I stopped eating anything else with preservatives or anything like that, no processed foods. And my body did start recovering, but I hit a level that I could not get any further. And I'd say to people, what am I missing? And they'd go, gosh, you're doing so much, you know, that's it. And I knew there was more. And that's where I started exploring minerals, because I was doing everything else and I didn't know what was possible. And, you know, the difference in me, and it keeps happening, you know, the more I put in over time and I cleanse my body, the difference in me is absolutely astounding. You know, and I've met other people who have had these diagnoses and they say, you can't fix it, you're stuck with it for life. I'm not stuck with it, it's long gone. You know, it can be repaired if you nourish your cells. And like Christa said, you put that nutrition in, your cells have the energy to clean up and repair. So, I mean, I love inspiring people about what's possible because I'm living testimony to that. You didn't see the before, but you see the after. And it feels good to be in this body that works really, really well compared to where I was. Absolutely. So, yeah, thank you for letting me share.
Right. Thanks, Jackie. There are so many diagnoses like that, more and more and more and more every day. Well, we really don't know what's wrong. We really don't have an answer. You know, you're doing everything you can. Good, keep doing that. But there's just this gap that's missing. It's so simple. It's just crazy.
What frightens me, Christa, is when you go to the doctor and you've got something going on, the doctor says, we can try this drug, or we can try that drug. Mm-hmm. They don't say, this drug will fix you. They, would you like to try this or this or this, and come back if it doesn't work, or try another one. Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah, I'm back out in a hurry.
Yeah, I think also because there are so many new manifestations that are happening that really they don't have a name for. And so as we become more and more and more depleted, as we become, more and more and more disintegrated, really, then it starts showing up in all kinds of ways. Stress is a huge user up of nutrients. The more stress we have in our lives, the far greater amount of nutrients we need on a daily basis. I mean, it's just this giant, it's not just you've got stress, you need that much more. It's way more.
Christa, how do you get people to really, really, really understand that, people say, oh yeah, but I'm eating well, and I'm having some juices, all those sorts of things. How do you get them to really understand that even though they're upright and breathing, that they're still deficient?
Yeah.
Because we are. You kind of, how do you get people to realise that how seriously depleted we are?
It's not an easy thing to, to show other people, because I know that if I look back 20 years ago, for example, I thought I was really healthy. I really had no idea I could feel like this. It wasn't in my consciousness. It wasn't in my reality. I didn't know because I'd never been here. And I think that's true for most people. We don't know what's possible. Coming back to this, possibility. We don't know. I thought I was fine. Nothing wrong. I eat all organic. Have done for a long time. I know what to do. Right? I've had my own clinics. I know what to do. It's not. And so our job really for me becomes education. And my job of talking about what's possible is only possible if there's an opening for it.
Yeah.
And my job's not to convince somebody, you need to do that. Although I think everyone should.
Yeah.
But really it's about sharing information. Okay, so you're doing really well. You're juicing, you're eating organic, you're doing great. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how's your digestion? How's your energy level? How's your sleep? How do you think your immune system's really functioning? I mean, there are certain questions that you can ask people to find out. Well, it's not absolutely where I really, really, really want to be. If you could have it any way you wanted, how would it be for you? If there was a possibility you could feel absolutely fantastic, amazing, what would that look like? So we really, in some ways, have to get people using their imagination because we've never had the experience. We can talk about it, but it's an invitation. It's an opening. It's do we even have an interest in it? Because a lot of people are so busy getting by that it's just too much more input. So really, the education piece is who's open to listening? Yeah. Or we can just put it out there. Yeah. Do you want to share?
Well,
I'd like Manfred to come up because Manfred has quite a different story, and it's really about, yes, we believe we can get everything from our food, but hey, I think we've been sold a bill of goods here. Okay.
So I'm sitting there thinking, well, my story was from thinking I'm the healthiest person on the planet, and when you said on a scale of 1 to 10, 20 years ago I would have said between 9.5 and 10 on every one of those questions. So I came here as a city person from Austria 30 years ago and learned about gardening and eating our own food and doing the self-sufficiency thing, doing the ideal diet, like live in the garden, and having low stress, best possible food fresh out of the garden every day. And through circumstances that were rather unique, like my wife having a baby with 47 when she's been hormonally infertile all her life, we all of a sudden had a midwife in our life who took a blood test and said to my wife, "You're really mineral deficient, better take those mineral tablets." And so we had to look. First of all, I thought that can't be. We are the healthiest, happiest people on the planet and we're eating the best possible food on the planet. We can't be mineral deficient. We're eating seaweed, we have seaweed on the compost. It can't be true. Can't trust that blood test. You know? So then we went off to our friends who were chiropractor, naturopaths, alternative health professionals who had all kinds of methods to test, from muscle testing to radionics machine where you hold on to the blood test, all kinds of tests, later hair sample, you know. Every test said we are the most mineral deficient people that they have ever seen. How can we walk around saying we're healthy, happy? We got hardly any nutrients left. So that comes from doing the ideal thing, eat local, right? So you live on one piece of land and you only eat out of that soil. 10, 15 years into that, the only minerals you got in your body is the ones that were in that soil. I tell you what, there's not that many minerals in the New Zealand soil that we can be healthy for a long time. So, you know, the thing was, within getting on a plant-derived mineral supplement, within 2 weeks, my life changed. So I would have said, I'm eating the best diet, but when I look back, I was overeating 5 times a day. I was always hungry, and when I wasn't eating, I was thinking about what I'm going to eat next, and I was munching in the garden anyway, right? And I had a sweet tooth, which is kind of totally acceptable. And, you know, I always had a sweet tooth. In Austria, you grow up on sweets. So that was all normal. Within 2 weeks, I didn't think about food between breakfast and lunch and dinner. And after dinner, I didn't want something sweet. So I thought, I'm getting sick. This was kind of really weird. I'm not hungry, you know. And from there, my life just started shifting gear. That, you know, I'm thinking that way. Is the best you've ever felt really the best you can possibly feel? Because we got the scale from nearly dead to optimally well, and in the center would be okay, which is what the doctor says, you're fit to work, you're healthy, you're okay, right? Now most people are not too bad. Have you noticed that? When they say, how are you? They say not too bad. So that's just below okay. But how many people will actually work on that scale when they're really good and then believe that they could possibly get better? And that's what Christa's sharing. That's how I'm feeling 20 years into working with Christa. There is no end to the journey of getting better. So you don't have to start out sick. You can start at 9.5 and there's a long way to go and 10 never comes.
I love it. Okay, thank you for that. And with that, I think we're going to wrap up the evening.